1 sec.
The future is here.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future. Welcome to the future.
We're marching ahead, blazing new trails. This is the future. We're setting sail. We're building a path to things we never done. Tomorrow is here, it's rising with the sun. An evolution, revolutions come. It's only started, only just begun. This is the moment we've been waiting for. So open up the door.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You know.
Welcome to the future.
Yeah.
Welcome to the. Welcome to the.
You are.
Welcome to
A new dawn. A new day. A new plan. Yeah.
Welcome to the future. Welcome to the. Welcome to the future.
Yo, hey guys.
It was amazing. Thank you, Sedano. That hype video was sick. Welcome, everyone. Hey, it's Leah from Emphasis. If you haven't met me yet, welcome to the YGG Q2 2022 community update. Thanks for being here. This is an opportunity for all of you guys in the community to interact with the YGG team and ask all of your questions. We are going to focus on a lot of the figures that were in the community update, so hopefully you've had a chance to read that already, but if not, we're going to post the link in the AMA discussion channel on YGG's Discord now, so you can open it up and check it out. So just to let you know, we've got an amazing crew on the call today. We've got Gabby and Beryl and Al, all the co-founders of YGG. We've also got Gulcha, who's the Global Chief Operations Officer, Duo, who's our Portfolio Operations Manager. We've got Mike, Head of Esports. We've got Mark, who's our Product Lead. Dano, of course, Community Marketing Manager. You definitely all know him. And if we're really lucky, Luis from YGG Filipinas might join us later, but we'll see if he's able to jump in. So if you do have a question for the team, get into the AMA discussion channel on Discord. Pop all your questions there. The team will be ready to take them today. And don't feel like you have to wait. You can jump in right now. But without further ado, I would love to pass it over to Gabby, who's going to give us a bit of an intro to what was included in the Q2 report just recently. Over to you, Gabby.
Hi, everyone. It's nice to see all of our guildmates again. Yeah, it's been a very busy quarter. As you know, we've been in a little bit of a bear market, but that's not really stopped us from really advancing the guild in the last 3 months. So first, I'll give an overview of kind of some of the numbers that's happened. So first, we want to highlight scholarships. You hear a lot about, play to earn is dead and there's no scholars anymore. But if you look at the aggregate numbers, we still have over 20,000 scholars under the Yield Guild network, and we have almost the same amount, over 21,000 YGG badge holders. And as we expand on more programs, which some of our team will be talking about later, we expect that to grow. We're now at 6 regional sub-DAOs, which I'll be talking about in a moment, and we're looking at these regional communities to really expand the reach of YGG around the world and have these communities as local as possible. Okay, some headline numbers on our asset acquisition. So we're now up to 51 game partnerships. We've been very steadily releasing our announcements on different partnerships, from Walk-In to My Pet Hooligan and more. And now we've spent over $10 million to acquire assets for 51 game partnerships. We spent $3.5 million for 6 guild partnerships, and $2 million for different P2E infrastructure partnerships. And if you look at the value at the end of June. The values may have gone down from the last quarter, but they're still above the initial acquisition cost that we've had for all of them. Okay, so next slide, we're going to talk about the SubDAO network. So we talked about our first three sub-DAOs last time, YGGC, IndyGG, and OLA. YGGC covers all of Southeast Asia except for the Philippines, which YGG is handling directly with Pilipinas. IndyGG is our partnership with Polygon to cover our guild in India. And OLA is our Latin American Spanish-speaking guild. And Base, which we've officially onboarded as a sub-DAO, is our Brazilian guild. And the last announcement was for YGG Japan. So yeah, YGG Japan is very new, just finished its incubation round. And it's focusing not only as a guild of guilds in the Japanese market, but also to bring Japanese IP over to NFTs and blockchain games. Overall, of all of these, we've raised over $50 million with 251 game partnerships, 32 active games, and over 21,000 scholarships across the entire network. Okay, who's next?
Yeah, so to speak on our game partnerships update, we have a number of games approaching launch. Some of them are a bit closer to going live than others, but a couple titles we're super excited about are games like Genopets, which is a move to earn app where users can level up a digital monster through their steps and earn crypto along the way. Another one is Metalcore, which is a sci-fi mech shooter. This is led by an all-star team, and we're just we're really looking forward to playing that with our community on the battlefield. And to speak a bit on our new partners, we've recently acquired items in Castle Crush. We're already among the top players in the game. We have like a top 5 clan spot on the leaderboard. We've also recently closed out a deal with My Pet Hooligan, and this will be a game we spend a lot of time on going forward. I'm sure you guys are like already familiar with the title already, but to elaborate a little bit, it's a third-person shooter based in the Rabbit Hole universe. And this team is pushing the boundaries of what a multiplayer game could be. They're utilizing technology like virtual reality, facial tracking to kind of like elevate player interactions within the game. And yeah, we're just super excited about all of our partners, especially those titles.
Awesome. I think we can go to the next slide. Over to you, Colin.
Yeah, fantastic. So certainly, I think we've referenced Crypto Winter here a little bit. You know, I think scholarships remain a very important part of the kind of the YGG story, and I think we're excited to see that there's still such widespread scholarship participation. But you know, I think with the cover of Crypto Winter, if you look at successful projects from the past, many of the successful ones that make it through the next summer are ones that build, you know, very heads down in the winter. So I think to that end, one of the major focuses of 2022 so far, you know, heading into this winter has been kind of the retooling of the team into more of a product organization. So we've really invested a lot in building out kind of product design, development, and bringing on experienced leaders in this capacity. So we've promoted Nidav, who is kind of our longtime development head for us. We've promoted him to head of product. He's sort of a you know, a very sort of high participatory YGG community member, really great product vision. We've brought on Mark Tan, who is one of our product leads on the community side. We've brought on Jen Yu, who is Jen is a longtime product and design leader. She's now our head of design. We've also brought on Nam as a new head of software development, as well as kind of additional developers, additional designers, and additional kind of product people. And so this is an area we have been really excited to actively build out this year, and is going to be kind of a major focus for us going forward. You know, really building out kind of more specific product experiences and thinking through what the other, you know, what the future sort of models in the play to earn space are beyond beyond and in addition to just scholarship. So with that, I'll hand it over to Knight, who can chat about some of our recent launches.
Yeah. Hey guys. I just want to talk about the two major releases we had in the last quarter. So first we'll talk a bit about staking vaults, or our reward vaults, I should say, and Mark's going to cover Gap here in a minute. So on the reward vaults, on the surface it should really look and feel like a pretty standard staking and farm experience, but kind of behind the scenes we built a really flexible platform for reward delivery. So there's all kinds of hidden levers related to locking times, token limits, multipliers, and whitelists. I guess the theme moving forward, we really want to provide a broader selection of rewards, both token rewards and explore kind of more novel rewards such as NFTs, social rewards, and now I'll just say other non-financial. Let me just leave it at that for right now. And then better targeting those rewards at our membership. So like right now, it's really just, it's tokens go in, rewards come out. We'd really like to do better targeting of those rewards to our most dedicated members, so that if you are, the ones in our, in our Discord, in our games, day after day, that you're, even if you don't have, a million tokens, you're still able to, carve out a pretty good slice of those rewards. So that's where reward vaults are headed. So I'm going to turn it over to Mark to talk a bit about Gap. With the first season wrapping up, I think we've, a lot has happened there. So Mark, take it away.
Thanks, Knight. So as you know, Guild Advancement Program is really one of the important ways for YGG to contribute and recognize Guild members who are making meaningful contributions. So thanks to everyone who participated, and we've given over 1,000 NFTs. So I hope you all enjoy these badges. So now what's happening is we are in the planning for the next season. So we're looking into starting that this September and running it over the next couple of months. The favorites are going to be there, including Axie, Cyborg, and LOK. But they're also adding a new game, so stay tuned for more updates on that one. That's all that I have.
All right. We've got one more quick announcement. Back to you, Gabby. Tell us a little bit about what's coming up in the Philippines in November. Oh, you're on mute.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So a very exciting piece of news. We've seen a lot of really good virtual events, and we've seen a lot of crypto events around the world that we've participated in. But we've decided that it's now time to bring the crypto world to the Philippines and see what the #3 country in terms of overall crypto usage is. One of the top MetaMask users in the world, and the #1 country in the world when it comes to play to earn, which is the Philippines. So in mid-November, a whole week, November 14 to 18, we'll be hosting the Web3 Festival in Manila at Bonifacio Global City. And this is meant to be a celebration of everything that we've done from YGG itself, all of the other guilds. We're partnered with Blockchain Space, who also has ties with a lot of guilds from around the world. And we want to show how crypto Web3 play to earn is really changing the Philippines and make it a model for the rest of the world. So we're looking forward to having all of our community, both from the Philippines and the rest of the world, go there. We'll be having a lot of special side events. We'll be having YGG specific events, and we'll be bringing some of the best investors, entrepreneurs, and founders from around the world, and some of our favorite games to be speakers in the event as well. So Philippine Web3 Festival, you can follow it. It already has a Twitter account. You can follow it from the YGG site as well. And looking forward to announce the speakers that we have, and we'll try to bring you the best speakers that you would want to see. And if you have suggestions on who you want to bring to the event, please type it in the AMA discussion chat.
Awesome. Open invitation to suggest speakers. That sounds awesome. I'm so excited for this festival. Like, I think ever since mid 2020 and throughout 2021 when we saw play to earn take off, and the Philippines was definitely like the epicenter of adoption across the world for NFT games. I think so many people have been sort of saying like, why the Philippines? So it's pretty cool that now we get to invite everyone to come and see for themselves and meet the community, and I think that's going to be awesome. So I hope everyone here can participate. But let's get stuck into the AMA. We've had a few good questions already from the community. Now, I wanted to throw this first one back to Kazuo. You did just touch on this, but Sir Cuckoo has asked, when Pet Hooligan Scholarship, Carrot Gang is keen to know. Maybe you could have a bit more of a chat about all the good work that you've been doing with My Pet Hooligan. Back to you, Kazuo.
Sure, yeah. So we work super closely with My Pet Hooligan, especially on the token side and everything from how the rental system works and how a scholarship model might develop. So this is still in development, and I can't really give a solid date on when we can offer that yet, but I implore you to follow us on Twitter and just stay connected on socials, and we'll give you updates along the way. But yeah, it's something we're working on and super excited to launch with.
Nice. Thank you. So we've got another question here. I feel like I'm going to say your name incorrectly, so please someone tell me how to pronounce it right. But N0ACLS, no ACLS, my bad. But they would like to know about Korea incoming as a sub-DAO. So we talked about all the existing sub-DAOs, but since the Q2 report, there has been a new one announced. Hey, Gabby, maybe you can talk to some of like how content and esports will be sort of feeding into some of these newer sub-DAOs and how that differentiates them from the rest.
Yeah, so it's not in this report because it's rather new, but we are onboarding a new sub-DAO from Korea called SkyGG. Very proud to say that the CEO of SkyGG is Christy Choi. So Christy used to be the head of Binance Lab, so a very well-known person in the crypto scene. And SkyGG will be focusing very much on esports and Web3. You know that Korean players are some of the best players in the world, name the game. Whether any competitive Web2 game, the Koreans are at the top of the heap, and we'll be building a top Korean esports program as well with SkyGG, focusing on Web3. So we're very excited for that. We'll probably have more information on that in the next quarterly report. But yeah, you heard it here first.
Nice. It sounds quite similar to YGG Japan too, like in terms of how they've got those links into IP. So super interesting to hear how the sub-DAOs are kind of forming around different needs across the world. Thanks, Gabby. Okay, so XBadZXs, again, sorry if I didn't say your name right. Bit of a question to follow up on staking. Maybe you could take this one, Knight. So they're keen to know, regarding the vaults, can we unstake and claim at any time? Will this change in the future? And they were just interested to kind of get you to expound a little bit more on YGG staking. So if you want to take a bit of a deep dive there, Knight, that would be awesome.
Sure. So in general, it's going to be on a vault by vault basis. Different vaults have different priorities and are trying to incentivize and reward different types of, I guess, token related behavior. So the answer is it's going to depend. I mean, for this first rollout, we went ahead and went with unstake and claim just straight up, for simplicity and because that's what I think what most people have come to understand, kind of staking is. But I'll give an example of a place where that gets a little bit more complicated. So one of the things we're looking at is kind of cross-chain staking. So if there's a native token on outside of the chains our token lives on, and we want to deliver rewards, we may have to think outside the box a little bit. So you stake your YGG tokens on Polygon in our vaults, and you're effectively being rewarded with it's really a proxy token. And at the end of the vault, we'll then airdrop to all of the people who have those proxy tokens the equivalent ones on the appropriate chain. Like, it's not something we're going to be doing daily, so you can't really claim them constantly. So for that particular vault, we'd be turning claiming off. Probably we'd still have unstaking it along the way, turned on for that one. But really, we have all these configurations and levers so that we can configure the vaults to meet whatever the need is for the particular rewards we're trying to hand out. But yeah, the short version is it varies and will vary.
Sick. Thanks, Knight.
I'll also maybe add to that there's a vision for vaults, which is we want it to be clear that if you're a YGG kind of token holder and a longtime YGG contributor, vaults are a way to access, use, and potentially own assets from the YGG treasury. Right? So, over time, we want to, I think the first version of vaults is one that helps you access game tokens. But over time, I think vaults will be almost a jumping off point into a lot of games in the YGG ecosystem. And so I think there's a vision there where, it should actually ultimately be a link to certain games in the ecosystem and sort of certain assets from the treasury. So I think the current version is something we with kind of a longer vision that we're planning to develop. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I think Cuckoo was sharing his strategy for that in the Discord, where he's like, stake YGG, earn RBW, breed more crypto unicorns. So thanks for the insight, Cuckoo. Okay, so we've got a question here, just actually following up on staking. AXP.eth is asking about staking rewards again. So just to reframe a little bit, they're kind of interested in how are we going to track user activity to reward the most active contributors? Knight, while we've still got you there, maybe you could talk a little bit about your vision in terms of building social profiles. Maybe we could even touch on X to earn here, because I know there's a lot happening in that community rewards space. Do you want to take that one first, Knight?
Sure. Yeah. So if you read our original white paper, I mean, leveling's been in there since day one. So we're carrying that leveling concept forward. Leveling is going to be a mix of both activity based. So if you're doing things like Gap right now, that's kind of the first entry into tracked participation. But we're also working on call it shorter, smaller bite type participation, in the background. That's one of the products that are currently in development. Participating in Gap is a huge part of it. Then also, the token also plays into leveling as well. So you're going to need tokens to level up. So hold on to those. So it's really a mix of participating and as well as supporting the token to ultimately level up and get into those more exclusive opportunities, better staking rewards, etc.
Nice. If no one has anything to add to that, we'll go on to the next question. So there's actually a lot of questions coming up about Gap. JB wants to know, are we going to see more YGG manager badges in Gap 2? And just as a follow-on from that, will there be a Gap Season 2? If so, when can we expect the season to begin? And what will be the new to the second? I'm not sure what that says there, but let's say, will there be a Gap Season 2? Who wants to take that first question about Gap?
I'll take the first part, and Mark, you take the second part. Yeah, on the manager badges, I think we the threshold may have been a little bit high on the manager quests for Season 1. So we're definitely looking at, I think, a redesign on that one. But yeah, we've definitely heard you. We value managers. We're gonna figure that out. So, but yeah, go ahead, Mark. You take the second half.
Yeah, sorry. I think they were just saying what's going to be new, in the second iteration.
Yeah, sure. So we are, as Knight mentioned, we are evaluating the Season 1 results. So you'll see more opportunities in terms of gameplay, and then we're adjusting the criteria for some of them. So this is a prelude to the larger vision of really building identity and reputation, and provide people not just as a way to get rewarded, but also opportunities to get more involved. So stay tuned on the list of achievements and criteria, and then you can get in touch with the quest leads who also handle most of the quests for Season 1.
Nice. Hey, while we've still got you, Spraykey wants to know, can we have Gap quests for YGG Founders Coin holders?
Yeah, I mean, I saw that question. We are in the planning season, so definitely that's something that we can consider. So I think that message was sent to me as well. So yeah, let's continue.
I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here. I do want to defer to both Mark and Knight on this, but I think over time, the hope is actually that GAP can be something that gets decentralized. So, by future seasons of GAP, we hope that, it's not YGG core or even YGG, it's not just YGG core team members designing these GAP quests. Different, community partner leads should be doing this. Different sort of game ambassadors, different sort of community members. We'd love to increase participation across the YGG community, and we see GAP as a way to sort of direct YGG community members to interesting spaces in the ecosystem. And so I think over time it would make a lot of sense to have a Founders Coin kind of quest or several quests by key community members there.
Do we have anyone who wanted to add to that? Actually, there was just a follow-on. Sorry, this might have been touched on, but just to be clear, there was a question about the achievement badges. Are they transferable, or do they have any utility? What can we use them for? Maybe Knight or Mark could take that one.
Yeah, sure. So they are non-transferable. That's kind of by design. I know that there's some pain around that with respect to, what if there's some problem with my wallet, what if I have multiple wallets and all that. I mean, this is one of the reasons why we're actually building, our account system is multi-chain, multi-wallet. You'll be able to link as many of those as you need to your profile and have them all, all of your, stuff viewable in a single place. But the non-transferable aspect is pretty important because really we want those achievements to live only on, on the people who earn them. We don't want to have to, you may have been the one who minted it, but we don't want to see those on people who just, pick them up on OpenSea, and potentially misrepresenting themselves or, creating kind of like a fog around who's actually, received the reward. As far as the utility, I mentioned, kind of this leveling up an experience concept. There's no values attached to them this second. We haven't calibrated the experience point system yet, but all of the GAP achievements that are being earned right now will be worth experience points towards leveling up. So basically, if you're earning them now, you're getting a head start on leveling, which is it's going to be a pretty big deal.
Nice. All right, Nocturnal has a question. And by the way, guys, super impressed, so many good questions coming through. Don't be shy, keep them coming. Nocturnal wants to ask, when can we swap YGG token in Polygon? Can the team speak a bit more broadly about the timeline around moving over to Polygon, and why did you choose Polygon? That might be one for Knight, maybe, or Gulcher.
On the liquidity side, I mean, at this point, I don't think we have anything to announce on LP on Polygon this second. I think we're definitely talking about it internally. So what was the other half? I mean, I think honestly, I was kind of expecting, some community initiatives. I mean, I was actually thinking about just starting a pool out there myself. With trying to round up some tokens and some token holders to go ahead and provide that, maybe get some yield. But I mean, we could, we're certainly talking about it internally as well. Why Polygon? Right. So I guess you guys know, last year gas got pretty crazy on Ethereum. I mean, we've got the merge coming up. I mean, that may or may not, continue to help address it. But Polygon kind of gives us the flexibility on cost to kind of realize our ambitions. We really want to be on a chain where people can interact with it, as often as they need to, for us to realize our ambitions. We still want to do a lot on chain. I mean, I think a lot of games have moved a lot of functionality off chain. I mean, we're there too. We'll be delivering some of our functionality, kind of off chain, as well. But we do still want to have very kind of advanced cutting edge features with respect to NFTs and contract development. So that's the Polygon background.
Thank you. Oh, and by the way, no ACLs. Thank you for correcting me. Sorry, I got it wrong. I will never mispronounce your name ever again. So we got another one here, which is really interesting, actually. It's kind of a double question. Cuckoo asked it, and then Boring Forever followed up. We want to know, it's a question around staking NFTs or tokens for exclusive access to YGG's content or assets. So Cuckoo said, what if you could stake YGG and then earn badges to borrow game assets? And then Boring Forever said, what if you could stake NFT badges for additional rewards, which is pretty creative. Who would like to talk to that?
Ooh, I can talk to that. Okay, so there's a few things there. So if you look at the NFTs you've earned, your Gap rewards as kind of a form of reputation that you're earning within the community. Like this is something you can't get other than by doing things associated with your identity. In a way, you're kind of building up a form of non-financial collateral, which I mean it's a goal that I've got for our programs is to be able to do lending on that basis, since that's something that effectively I mean, you're borrowing against your reputation. That's something that it's very difficult in a space that's largely pseudonymous. But the thinking is that over time, that reputation will be worth more than the NFTs you'd be borrowing. So we haven't figured out how to actually deliver that yet, but that's 100% a point of why we're doing these long-running user profile, historical resume type things, is to enable that sort of program.
Nice. Did anyone want to add anything to that? If not, we'll move on to the next.
Yeah, I mean, I think to Knight's point, we hope to make badges as kind of a, as a guild ID. I think there's a bunch of things we could do with that, especially as we kind of go to kind of other chains and other platforms. I think, you can imagine an entire ecosystem of use cases around people trying to build for YGG members, right? And so this is something that could take partnership implications. It could take certainly a lot of product implications, both in our existing products, but then in sort of products built by community members, these sorts of things. And so, we haven't forgotten about badges and some of that stuff. And so, we hope to better incorporate them as we roll out the portfolio here.
Colin, before we lose you, we just had a quick follow-up one. Cuckoo was wondering, can we see the badges on our YGG website inventory tab? Maybe you could talk about any plans for a website redesign, functionality in future, stuff like that.
Yeah, Knight I think answered it in the thing there, but I think I'll let him speak a little bit to roadmap items there. Oh, sure.
Yeah. So from the chat, there is a pretty minimalist view on the achievements page. I mean, we're in the middle of a I guess call it a much broader app redesign. The thing to look forward to there is, right now, I mean, inventory is still honestly a pretty private page. It's not that great for flexing. A key part of the user profile that we're building is it's intended to be a publicly viewable profile where you can highlight, all of your involvement and relationship with YGG. Like the metaverse resume is really kind of like the guiding kind of principle there. Like flexing is 100% the point. So yeah, we hear you. We're working on it.
Nice. We've got some other questions sort of that'll come back to product in a sec, but I just want to segue for a moment. Gabby, maybe you can answer this one. Very important question from Day. I think this is in reference to the Philippine Web3 Festival. He wants to know, can we get Kanye and Snoop as speakers in the Philippines? Gabby, paging Gabby. So Gabby.
I think we're working on it. I think that's him. Searching his address book right now.
DMing Kanye.
Yeah, he's deep in conversation with Kanye right now.
Okay, sorry. I won't interrupt that then. Okay, what do we got next? Actually, this is an interesting one. We've got a question about game testing ops that might be on the radar. I think the question might be in relation to My Pet Hooligan as well, which clearly there is a lot of hype for that, or other upcoming game launches. Maybe we could get a little bit of alpha on which game testing opportunities might be coming up. Maybe Mark might be able to answer that. Or actually Kazuo, I think is probably the place to answer that. Sorry.
So we have a Metalcore playtest happening now. It's more internal. My Pet Hooligan is a game we'll be testing. I think if you really want to get involved in our game testing, you should contact May, who handles our game testing operations. We have a game tester team, and we kind of organize it around those individuals there. So if you want to get involved in our internal testing, just reach out to her, and I'm sure she could speak with you more on that and potentially onboard you.
Colin, you looked like you were going to add something to that there.
No, I'm just bantering in the thread. Sorry.
But maybe you're going to put yourself forward to be a game tester because we've got some pretty sick ones coming up. Okay. Question for Beryl, this one. So AXB.eth wants to know, can you elaborate a little bit more about how YGG was transitioning to a Swiss-based entity? Beryl, maybe you can talk about how that actually fits in with the long-term vision for YGG sub-DAOs as well.
Yeah, so moving to a Swiss entity is more of providing a little bit more structure and order with, like what we actually want to achieve. So one is really bringing in the sub-DAOs as subcommittees within YGG. So it's in line with how we want to decentralize YGG eventually over time. So apart from that, it would be more transparency, proper reporting as well. It would actually help everyone who's actually like a stakeholder within YGG. So we aim to be really transparent to everybody, and the reporting within the Swiss standards are pretty stringent, right? So yeah.
Interesting. Thanks, Beryl. It's really super interesting. I mean, that is really legitimate. I don't think there's many DAOs around the world who have taken that step, so that's super cool. Thanks for sharing. Okay, we got 2 questions here. If you know me at all, you will know I love merch, and someone is asking about merch here, so I'm pretty excited about that. JB has an amazing idea. He wants to know, can we get our badges as merch so that we can flex during our Web3 meetups? Oh my God, I love that idea. And also, Sedano, can you give us like any upcoming merch leaks, please?
Yeah, sure. Glad you asked, guys. So we are actually working with a with a Web3 partner that actually already has this tech. So the NFTs are actually merchandise that you can redeem with physical items, but at the same time, you can also use these these NFTs as assets basically in other games. So we're looking at the Sandbox, we're looking at Decentraland. So there are this has been in the pipeline for a couple of months now, and it's pretty dear, I would say. Though the designs, I'm pretty sure like some of you guys have an idea of how it looks like, but I would say it's very like the Web2 esports companies are going to be getting a run for their money. That's what I'm going to be saying. And really cool stuff. We've actually been designing it with the esports, with our esports players as well. So there's a lot of of design input. As at the same time, you're gonna look pretty cool, like wearing it, going into maybe a tournament or whatnot, or just walking around on the street or getting your groceries. But overall, I mean, it's gonna be coming out really soon. So NFTs, gaming integration happening in the next few months maybe. And yeah, one last thing is we want also merch to be something that comes out in seasons. So just like how we we have our GAP in seasons, like we can expect a lot of iterations and just a lot more of the good stuff. So yeah, definitely watch out for that. And speaking of merch, so everyone who got their YGG jackets, in case you didn't notice, so the badge that's on the jacket, so that actually has like there's an Easter egg in there. So if you guys have NFC readers on your phones, might as well check that out and see what it does. So yeah, well, we've been working on it.
Since we're talking about merch, just real quick, one of the, I guess, call it the non-financial vaults, I guess I was kind of referring to, we're looking into trying to tie a merch program to a reward vault. So that being one of the primary ways to get merch. I feel like it's kind of somehow more elite if you're like you're getting that out of the reward vault. You're competing with people for merch rather than just being like a shop experience. So that's one of the angles there we're exploring.
Actually, there's a follow-up question to that. Is there, maybe we talk sort of about some digital items. Sedano, maybe you can talk to that, like any upcoming avatars, gifts, emojis.
Yeah, so actually, this is going to be a project from the community Discord, and yeah, we are still looking for emojis that you can submit, and this is something that we might be integrating into Gap. So as simple as creating your own emojis or creating your own artwork, or maybe even creating content, talking about YGG, talking about our partnered games. So we're not only looking at streaming anymore. So we're looking at memes, we're looking at posters, we're looking at maybe comics, fan art, anime, and yeah, definitely something to look out for season 2.
Nice. We had an idea there for a sleeveless YGG hoodie from No ACLs, by the way, Sedano. So please make notes. So we got another question. Actually, lots of questions about games now, and sort of getting into specifics. I'm not sure the best person to take this one, so feel free to jump in, whoever wants to handle it. But XBadZX, and correct me if I'm saying your name wrong as well. They want to know, with the upcoming launch of Axie Origin, is YGG working on how the scholarship will work, given we've got the new involvement of rune and charm crafting? Seems like it's going to be a bit more complex to the original scholarship.
Yeah, so as far as how we approach the new Axie, I mean, our esports team is always theory crafting new strategies and ways to approach the game. Also, Nate on GameOps, he also is looking into ways to approach the new Axie system. But yeah, that's about all I have there.
Nice.
Yeah,
yeah,
certainly we have a gigantic position in Axie, right? It's been, you know, I think it's been like a core part of kind of where YGG comes from and where we're going. So, you know, I think we're actually still very well positioned to make the migration into Origin. You know, YGG Elite has been playing it. You know, we still have kind of our manager system. We still have our head of game ops. We still have, you know, this will still be a big category for us. And I think, yeah, I hopefully we can. Yeah, I guess maybe one of the things we can do is we can try to do some sort of public post about, you know, our strategy of moving into Origin generally. But yeah, we can make a note of that.
I mean, I think some of the economics there are still kind of, you know, we're still kind of waiting for the, you know, the real live economics to be out there for that too. You know, before we, you know, I mean, scholarships are fundamentally, you know, kind of an economic program, and so, you know, understanding how, you know, runes and charms and stuff relate to, you know, the play in our program is still being figured out.
Nice, thanks guys. We've got a question from Rocket Unit. Oh, and by the way, guys, we've only got about 10 minutes left. So if you do want to ask a question, make sure that you ask it now. We've got a little bit of a pipeline to get through, but stick it in there. We'll do our best to get through everyone's questions. So Rocket Unit was asking, how does YGG expand? And they're asking about Gala games and that sort of area. But I guess just to kind of generalize, you know, Kazuo, maybe you can talk a little bit to what you're typically looking for when assessing new games. And I have a follow-up question to that too. I was wondering if it's any different when you're kind of going into the crypto winter as opposed to, you know, the bull run that we experienced last year.
Yeah, great question. So I mean, I guess the core attributes we look for in new game acquisitions would be quality teams that are capable of making really high quality products. Tokenomics is another thing we take very seriously. So we want to support ecosystems that can sustain long-term growth. So these are like three core attributes we look for. And then what was the other follow-up part of that was,
Yeah,
what was the other part of that? Sorry.
I was wondering if it's changed at all. Like, obviously the environment, the landscape's very different now. You know, there's not as much hype as there was toward the end of last year. I was wondering, has that changed the way that you approach it at all?
Yeah, we're definitely we're doubling down on how we assess our games for quality. So we're looking for, you know, even stronger teams, and we're taking a very hands-on approach towards designing the token systems within those games. So yeah, I would say it's just like we're looking even harder. We're making fewer acquisitions at this point in time, just really striving for like the utmost quality.
Nice. Did anyone want to add anything to that, just around like assessment of games and if it's any different right now than it was last year? If not, all good. Okay, we had a question about pricing for the Philippine Web3 Festival, ticket pricing, that is. I'll take that one because I think the answer is we don't know yet. The people who are organizing this event are working really hard behind the scenes. So I think all the sort of key information, details will be coming out in the next couple of weeks or so. If you want to stay up to date, because we hope to see you all there, you can follow on Twitter the handle is, and maybe someone could help me out by sticking the link in Discord, but it's at PH Web3 Festival on Twitter. That's at PH Web3 Festival. So follow that, and all the info will come out there, including like speakers, and feel free to tweet there as well if you have ideas or things that you want to see. All right, guys, we're nearly at the end of time, but got another question here. So this time last year, scholars were yielding more from in-game rewards. That's true. And since then, the yields have dropped significantly. So what do you believe is the future of Web3 gaming guilds? Wow, that is a massive question. Colin, maybe you could take that. Maybe talk a little bit to some of the content that's been put out recently around where YGG has been, where it's going.
Yeah, definitely. So, certainly, look, it would be foolish to just suggest that this is the same scholarship environment that it was a year ago, right? Last year we were very much in some sort of Axie summer or play to earn summer. A lot of fantastic games were monetizing. It was in the context of a broader kind of crypto and just kind of financial kind of bull run. But look, I think a few things. So for starters, I think scholars remain an important part of our guild. But for a long time, scholarships were kind of the only way to measure, the primary way to measure like an active user for a crypto guild, right? And so I actually don't think that that's fully representative of everyone that's in our guild, right? So even then, it's not always just the sort of single best metric. And so I think as we go into, as we're in crypto winter now, we're still kind of progressing with our scholarship program. But I think some of the things we've spoken to recently is one, building out new guild models. So, and in particular, building out kind of product, right? I think scholarships were a very kind of capital and operational intensive thing, but it was less of a product innovation. And so we've invested in kind of building out a product and development team that can kind of better match players with kind of games and assets, right? Second of all, I think we have a pretty diverse portfolio of over 50 games now. The goal is that every player should have a few games that are their favorites, and each of those are going to be in summer or winter at different phases, right? And so scholarship numbers have compressed in certain games, but over time we're going to have a portfolio of many sort of games in the YGG ecosystem that people are participating in. And finally, I think from a play to earn perspective and kind of the future of guilds, we want to be kind of thinking long term, right? There's going to be periods where the economics are really favorable, and then other times when they're kind of crunched. And so I think we are over time we're going to have many different types of play to earn models or crypto gaming models. We're going to have many games in the portfolio, and I think part of what the maybe future of what a crypto gaming guild does will be matching players with games they want to play and building value in those games, right? And so I think the early version of that was very capital and operational intensive, and then I think future versions of it will involve product and tech, and I think deploying our community that way. Hopefully that's helpful. I maybe rambled a little bit there, but I think we are actively exploring the future of play to earn and new play to earn models, and I think we've turned things around a little bit, and now our ability to build in that space is becoming a strength for us. So yeah, that's what I think the future of play to earn kind of gaming guilds are.
Just to add real quick, another aspect that we could look at, aside from the traditional scholarship model that we started with is, looking into the communities. Like a really good example of this is our MMORPG in the community. So shout out to YGG Guildhouse, the guys playing Ni no Kuni, Mir 4, big time. So what's happening here is that, it's the community that discovers like ways to be able to, just leverage, the game and acquire assets. So not necessarily, it should be directly, from a YGG asset upfront, like how we're used to. But, if you guys, find ways with YGG partnered games to be able to, collect NFTs, find ways to maybe like buff up your characters or whatnot, and then, create value on that. And, it's a whole new ball game that's going to be happening with a lot of other games that are coming out. So definitely you want to watch out for the YGG big time community. really good example that they're setting there. So pretty cool stuff.
That's awesome. Thanks, Gulcha and Sedano. I think that's super fascinating because, YGG really was the first decentralized gaming guild and set the bar for, a whole new wave of innovation across what is now a real established industry, I would say. So very, very interesting to see, how you guys are moving it forward as we go into like a totally new time. We've only got a few minutes left, and we kind of got a few questions here that sort of overlap, so I'm going to mash them together a little bit. People were interested to know other programs that are coming up, what we can expect in the coming months, and what they can look forward to joining. Stuff like partner quests. Actually, I'll throw to Mark on that. He'll give us more detail. But just from No ACL, by the way, shout out to him because he's at work writing all these questions. So thank you for sending those through. He was wondering too, maybe this relates a little bit to X to Earn, but he was wondering about like projects that aren't necessarily game related, but maybe they've got like IRL experiences and unique earning utilities based on different niche markets. So I'm not sure exactly what was meant there, but I'm thinking it could relate to like X to Earn opportunities. Who would like to take that one in terms of upcoming programs and other earning opportunities that are on the horizon? Maybe not.
Sure, I'll start. My scope really comes from a GAP program perspective. So examples of, I think I saw a question on off-chain as well. So examples of those include like content stream, moderating, the festival as an example, right? There are many ways to help YGG, and some of these activities are definitely going to be considered as criteria that rolls up more holistically into an overall quest. So yeah, we're definitely not just focusing on the gameplay itself. We're looking for ways to think about how community can help YGG in many different ways.
Yeah, I'll jump onto that too. I mean, YGG's, yes, at our core, we're a group of gamers and a group of people in the metaverse doing things. The keyword is doing. Like, if there are projects that are, tracking people doing things and bringing those on chain, that's interesting. If it's something we can do as a group, as a community, that's even more interesting. So yeah, the keyword is doing. So if I'm less interested in projects that are just about like looking at a thing or I don't know, reading a thing. Like doing is the key thing. We want to get people out there doing stuff. Did I say doing enough?
Awesome, thanks guys. We're actually right on the hour, so unless anyone had anything to add to that final question, feel free to jump in now. But otherwise, I think we'll wrap it up. I just wanted to say, firstly, thanks to all of our speakers on the call. So awesome to hear how much is going on behind the scenes. So much momentum. I think it's true what they say about bear markets, the time for building. And thanks to the community, awesome questions all the way from beginning to end. One of our most lively community update discussions ever. So thanks, guys. Until next quarter.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.